Welcome to the channel. This is my old MAS 36. I bought this gun some years ago, reasonably cheaply, predominantly because I have a French shooting buddy, you know, and you get banter about how bad French guns are and all the rest. That was my prime motivation buying it, plus I thought it was different and interesting, you know, like a Citroen. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great gun. These guns, they have all sorts of, you know, preconception online, or only once, drop once, or some crap like that. I don't buy into that. I think the gun itself is, yes, it is different. Yes, it's perhaps in some ways, you know, a bit strange, you know, not quite what you'd expect, but I think it's great. And I think the solutions are different and interesting. And I think that's a wonderful reason to have these old guns. And let's remember, this is a Second World War gun. Quick review, let's have a look at these things. So we're starting off in the front, where this is obviously the barrel over here. Below that, push button there. Out it comes. You have a little bayonet. Stick that in there. You can signal with that. You can stab at mines. Oh, I don't know. You can stab people probably. This is good for if you need to shoot competitions, because it's really light. It's really light. It doesn't add much weight. It doesn't wobble around too much. Wonderful. So if you have a competition with a mounted bayonet, you know, I remember one competition where the gentleman next to me had a gun and the bayonet flew off when he fired it. Well, okay, but that won't happen with this gun. Over here, you can still stack these guns in a little pyramid of rifles, you know, when you go to bed at night. Fine. Over here's the front sight hood. That is a bit loose. It doesn't rattle, but it doesn't provide an accurate aiming mark. And if we have a look at, well, I'll turn it this way. The peephole sight, well, the peephole sight, what I'm talking about, the sight post is in the middle of this thing. And you look at that through that peephole sight. Yeah? And of course that is slightly problematic, because you have the front sight hood is kind of like ruining the perfect circle of the rear peephole sight. And so my solution was to Tipp-Ex it. And put a bit of Tipp-Ex on that, and that has worked great. Now it doesn't just show up in my sight picture so much. Or at least I can differentiate it. Let me move on to that. Barrel band, original sling, very nice. On this side, you can see that the whole receiver is one solid metal billet sort of thing down here. You can push that in. You have your magazine spring. You can pull it out, clean it, put it in again, slide it in the rear, clip it in place, great. Then in the rear, nice bit of wood. Over here's the recoil pad. That's actually from a grenade launcher conversion. Most of these had a launching thing that, you know, sights at the side, and then you could have some sort of barrel-mounted grenade slipped over and fired. I don't know. It's all obviously gone out of the window. You can still get some of these which have the old sighting mechanism for the grenades, but I don't know. I find it looks a bit clunky. I prefer this. You then have the rear sight. That's over here. See, and as you slide that forward, this thing pops up. And that's where it gets real interesting, because these are interchangeable to adjust your sights. So, on a Kar 98 or any of the Mausers really, I mean most of them, you have a front sight and you drift it right and you drift it left. And if you need to go up and down, you knock the sight out and you put one on that's slightly taller or slightly shorter. And that's how you zero your gun. Well, nothing going here. The front sight is what it is. I think it's even welded in place. I think it's a solid part of the gun. The adjustment then is by having the rear sight. So if you have a look, you have the rear sight has quite a large area here. Let me see if I can adjust this for you. How about that? Yeah, see, that's pretty good. So you can see there's a lot of metal there. And in the middle of all that metal is one little peephole. And that peephole is on a sort of mechanism, and it floats up and down if you move the slider. Alright, well, that curvature is always the same, but what they do, if you think of this is the bit of metal I pointed out, and in the middle of it is a hole. Well, if you're not hitting on, you take that whole rear sight off. See, it is pinned in place. Up there, there's a pin. You take it out. Out comes this thing here. There's a spring underneath. and you replace one that has the holes drilled in a slightly different place. So if this is your peephole and you're here and you're not shooting right or left, well then you get one which has drilled a hole slightly off center. And if that's not enough, there's another one which is drilled off center even more. And then you get some which are up a bit, or up 2 bits, or down a bit, down 2 bits, and you get the picture. So you get basically a whole collection of holes of rear sides, each of which have the hole drilled in a slightly different place. And you can, if your gun doesn't shoot dead straight, for whatever reason, you take the rear sight out and you replace it with a different one. All right, well, that's revolutionary. I think that's a really great idea. The big downside, of course, is that your rear sight is a big bit of steel with a tiny hole in, and so you don't really have a lot of peripheral vision. So, you know, you might shoot at the wrong target with this, might happen. But I don't think that was that big a deal. The problem that I had with my gun is that, unfortunately, it's shot slightly too high. Not a big problem, I thought. I have a French shooting buddy, and I have a French shooting buddy who likes to hear about how much I like his gun. And so I sent him on a mission. I said, okay, well, get one which has the hole drilled slightly lower down, and then our problem is solved. And off he went, and took him a while, and he couldn't find one. I think all these sites have gone, I don't know, but he could find one. You know, I just don't think they're about. You can get one. If you need one, you can find one, but I guarantee you it won't have the particular setting that you need. So if you need something that's drastic up and a bit to the side, you might find that. But if you just want center and a little up, well, all those are largely gone. And it didn't help that there are 2 different versions of this sort of front sight mechanism for slightly different guns, one generation earlier and one generation later. This is the later variant. And so, what do? You know, I mean, I can close that hole up and drill another one slightly above or below, but, well, slightly. It's a nightmare. I mean, you're never going to get on target like that, are you? I mean, so I did what any normal shooter would do, what any sensible shooter would do. I got a bit of pencil lead, and I sanded it flat, and I glued it onto the bloody front sight. And then I filed it down until I shot on. And that's, pencil lead is still there. You know, I'm going to sell it with a gun. Service. I hasten to point out that if you look at the front sight post, and you have to remember that already has pencil lead on top, which has made it slightly narrower than it should be. The front sight post is quite wide, and that is a change in philosophy. So if you take your British target, there's your target, and you have your front sight, and that's your front sight. You put the front sight in the middle of the big target, and you pull the trigger, and bang, and great. Now the French don't do that. The French have a big front sight. But that's not really a problem because they only have a very small target. So you put the big front sight post and you put the front sight in the middle of the front sight post. Now, allegedly you can hit more accurate with that, and I have to say I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that. I actually think that works great. The problem is most targets here in the UK are huge, and you're basically aiming a massive front sight post at an even bigger target. And that can be awkward, you know, especially it's a black front sight post, and you're already messing around with that front sight protective hood sort of thing, which is, I don't know, could be better. It could be better. You just don't have the clarity that you have with, you know, some of the Mausers. Here's our ball. Now this is, I love this. I think this is great. All right, disassembly. All right, one ball. You smack that down. You give it a twist. Up it comes. That is one part. That's the rear pin. See, you've got a little notch there. That'll teach you how to align this correctly. So there's no wrong way of assembling it. There's your spring. There's your firing pin. See, all one part. Ah, isn't that nice? Down it goes. And then over here, you have the extractor. I won't fish it out now because it's a pain. It's kind of like an up and back and out sort of job. But that's it. This bolt consists of 5 parts. That's it. Reassembly, easy. You take this thing. You want to put it up here in the cock position. If you put it down there, you have to fiddle. Ugh. Then you put your spring in. like that. And this guy will only get in one way, so you look at the little pin at the front, line it up, push it down, give it a twist. Bob's your uncle. Done. Inserted back into the gun. Obviously we are empty. Pull the trigger, you pull the trigger to get the bolt in and out. That's nice as well. I mean, on a Car 98 you have like 3 bits that do that. Actually it's 4 bits. You have a screw, you have the actual flange bit, you have an out and then the thing on the out, and there's a spring as well. Here you just pull the trigger, you know, just done over the sear. And then we push this down, forward it goes, down it goes, bang it goes, up it goes. There's no safety on this gun. Bit weird, but there it is. I keep thinking you might twist it or something, but there's no safety. Alright, let's put you away. So that's the gun, that's the bolt. I think that's all great. You have stripper clips. There you go. These are made out of alu. I had no problem finding this. To be fair, I got this a few years ago, you know. And they clip in the rear as you would with a Car 98 and ratchet it down and off you go. Ammunition. I never loaded for this gun. I found a fellow dealer who had a pallet of this ammunition he bought somewhere. You could buy it cheaply, you know, and the brass is useful. We can flog that. So I just shot that. I just shot PPU, you know, casual plinking gun. If you want to load for this, it's all pretty easy. It's just a box standard 308 head, which you put on a fired case. You get PPU cases ready to load everywhere. You just stick a primer in. Loads are published in just about every book I have. It's a great gun. I like this thing. It's not bad. Why am I getting rid of it? Well, I've had it for a while. You know, you want to have something different. And I feel my time is up with this. You know, get something different. So it's already gone. It's already sold through a dealer. And he's got to pick it up in a week. And that'll be the end of it. And then we'll have to hunt for something new. I hope that was interesting. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.